So last week it was reported that there was a bug on Bitcoin's Lightning Network. And without getting into the details of the bug, I do want to take the opportunity to talk about why this is important and why it's actually a good thing. Because I believe the currency of the future is trust. And it's going to take a lot of trust to convince people that we have a better system when their conception of money is rooted in physical representation, such as gold and paper fiat. So to that end, let's talk about the case for trusting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and why a bug is prime evidence as to why you should place your trust in them. Welcome to Ready Set Crypto. This is your brain on blockchain. So what's so striking to me about this Lightning Network bug is that almost exactly a year ago, another bug was found in the Bitcoin code. Taken at face value, this bug was very serious as it was in Bitcoin as well as many of the other variations of Bitcoin source code such as Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, and the bug could have led to Bitcoin's network being temporarily shut down, which is a pretty big deal. And actually it gets worse than that because it could have led to an expansion of the Bitcoin supply beyond the 21 million hard limit. Finally, the cherry on top was that developers tried to cover up the full extent of the bug, choosing to focus on getting network participants such as miners and exchanges to upgrade as soon as possible. As CoinDesk reported, in order to encourage rapid upgrades, the decision was made to immediately patch and disclose the less serious denial of service vulnerability, concurrently with reaching out to miners, businesses, and other affected systems, while delaying publication of the full issue to give time for the systems to upgrade. So thankfully, the end result was that the vulnerability was not exploited and currently more than half the network is upgraded. So the threat is essentially mitigated now. But in the worst case scenario, a malicious actor could have exploited the bug and caused the supply to suddenly expand ad infinitum. The network would have ground to a halt, causing network uptime to plummet, and certainly the market price would also have plunged. But in this hypothetical worst case scenario, what would come after that? Well, certainly there would have been a hard fork of the network, not ideal, but necessary. And on one side, there would be every transaction that occurred before the exploit, while on the other, there'd be a chain with unlimited Bitcoin. We can surmise that the overwhelming majority of miners, developers, and exchanges, as well as users, would choose the fork that did not contain the exploit as a legitimate fork, seeking to return to the status quo. This would drive the second exploited chain into obscurity or oblivion. Over time, the price would then stabilize, people would calm down, miners would get back to mining, and simply there would be no value in mining or supporting the exploited blockchain. Eventually, the exploited chain would just simply vanish, only being a reference on a Wikipedia article, a small footnote in history, while the main chain would continue on, and with the collective purpose that came before. Quite simply, when it comes to the march of progress, everything doesn't grind to a halt just because there's a roadblock, or in this case, somewhat of a speed bump. No, it's more important to think about software as an organism. In the past on this channel, I've talked about the parallels between software systems and organic systems. And when it comes to the health of an organic system, any doctor will tell you that a well-defined immune system comes from being outside and interacting with the world. You don't grow stronger by living in a bubble. And this is also true with Bitcoin and software systems as a whole. In the sewers of the internet, Bitcoin faces constant assault. But because of this, it has the strongest immune system imaginable. A strong immune system is the result of surviving constant assault, much like robust software is a result of constant improvement and many lessons learned along the way. And this gets to the core thesis of this video and why you can trust Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a brilliant system based on advanced cryptography, a new class of data structure, and a new way to think about trust itself. But all of that aside, where you can really derive trust of Bitcoin is from the community behind it. The community collectively believes that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and therefore even if someone did manage to exploit a bug and create more, the network would invalidate that by simply forking away from that blockchain. Because of all the economic incentives and game theory in play, this means the exchanges and miners will follow suit, effectively killing or relegating the secondary chain to the sidelines. And you know why this is true? There was a so-called value overflow incident in 2010 when 187 billion Bitcoins were created out of thin air, but ultimately were destroyed. You can also go to bitcoinuptime.com and see that it hasn't been up 100% of the time since the genesis on January 3rd, 2009. And again, that's okay. You can trust that even though the Bitcoin software isn't perfect, it has some very smart and very passionate people working on it. If a bug is found, it'll be fixed. After all, there's real money on the line. So bugs have been found in Bitcoin software in the past, and there will be bugs in the future. I think it would be crazy to think that any system is perfect and never needs to be updated. Bitcoin's no different. It's exactly this kind of situation that highlights what's really going on here. It's not magic and it's not infallible, but hard work and innovative thinking are what keep the Bitcoin project going now and into the future. Bitcoin has value because of the people behind it and the consensus they form. So, what do you think? Do you trust Bitcoin, or do you believe it's a broken promise of a decentralized future? Do you believe that there's other projects that are more trustworthy? And how do you define that trust? Let's have a healthy and measured discussion in the comments below. And don't forget, if you haven't done so already, keep up with all that's new and interesting in the crypto space by getting on our free newsletter over at rscnewsletter.com. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.